Like that B-roll? Follow my Instagram for more. A while ago, I did a string review on the Furi C4, one of the best round polys I've ever play tested. I will leave a link to that in this corner if you guys haven't checked it out already. In my quest for my new stick, I have play tested several rackets, but none really have fit my needs. I'm looking at you, Bablot, specifically. So, will this new offering from a New York-based company be a good fit? Well, let's find out after you hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell for more original tennis content. This is the Furi Arma Pro 98 Tennis Racket Review. Keep in mind, I've spent well over 50 hours on court with this playtest, along with a slew of 16 gauge polyester strong, all strong at 50 pounds. Without a doubt, this is my most in-depth racket review I've ever done. So do me a favor and pay attention closely, because I'm going to be very, very critical both in my pros and my cons. With a 10.8 ounce unstrung, a 98 square inch frame, 64 stiffness, open string pattern, and around 10 points of headlight unstrung, this racket honestly seems like a perfect fit for my game. But let's see how it actually performs on the tennis courts. So as I'm writing the script for this tennis racket review at my indoor club, I found out that there's a bird just kind of flying around. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you guys saw that. But yeah, pretty excited to actually finally wrap this one up for you guys. Right off the bat, this felt like what a modern Wilson Pro Staff 97 should feel like. Within the first 5 minutes, I could immediately tell that this racket was just different. It didn't have any of the crazy bullshit technology or design that had me feel disconnected from the ball. This racket felt powerful, sometimes too powerful depending on your technique and preparation. I think that this racket felt more like a 66 stiffness rating instead of the listed 64. And if Furi had brought down that stiffness, then this slight overpowering issue would not be a problem. Fortunately, the launch angle was both predictable and responsive. The spin was an absolute dream for a player's frame as well. If you're looking for a topspin potential akin to that of the Bablot Pure Aeroline, look elsewhere. It's not that type of spin monster for a tennis racket. The spin potential was absolutely on point for a modern control-oriented stick that has an open string pattern. Topspin was extremely predictable, but also never overbearing at the same time. The same can be said about the offensive and defensive slices as well from the baseline. As for the feel, this felt like a player's stick that is under 12 ounces, which is kind of rare in 2023. However, this was not a forgiving racket, and I love it for that. Some might view that as a negative, but with all the BS technology floating around, tennis rackets feel disconnected to the ball nowadays. And trust me, I want to know if I slightly mishit a forehand so I can properly adjust in the near future. Instead of not forgiving, let's just call it responsive. Yeah, it's a responsive tennis racket. For an open racket string pattern, this racket was also great for flat shots. I will also note that some approach shots did sail a bit long, but it was due to the powerful nature of this racket, not the string pattern or the launch angle. How do I know this? Well, because the launch angle from the string pattern was as expected, but the ball just sailed a little bit past the baseline, or if I'm going inside in with my forehand approach shots, a little bit to the left of the single sideline. One last thing to note from the baseline, this racket is a lot more head heavy than expected based on the balance point that is listed. To get the most out of this racket, you need to do these 3 things from the baseline. 1, prepare early. 2, be aggressive on swings. Do not slow down. And 3, let the racket do its thing after you hit through contact. Don't let the racket feel like you are unconfident on the follow through at all. Just let it flow. This is the most apparent on the aforementioned approach shots. Also, a lot of my lobs from the baseline sailed about 2 inches longer than expected. I just wanted to say that because I consider myself a lobbing specialist in singles. You know what else I'm considered? A hygiene specialist. It may not look like it, but I have a doctorate in masculine hygienics from Harvard while studying for my MD in Princeton. I did both at the same time in under 2 years to appease my parents' lofty high standard.
You doctor yet?
No, Dad, I'm 12.
Talk to me when you doctor.
And you know what else I learned? that you should use Shamdude. With Shamdude's specific lineup for men, you can upgrade your game to be Riz positive both on and off the tennis court to finally land that date with that little cutie patootie with a booty that you were so afraid of when you previously smelled like a porta potty at the tail end of a chili cooking festival in the middle of July. My personal favorite is the Tropic Thunder bar soap that makes me feel like I'm a free-flying bald eagle in 1960s Vietnam. I will leave a link down in the description below, and make sure you use the discount code MARK20 for 20% off. And yes, it does help out this channel. Thanks. At the net, this racket did feel a lot more at home than at the baseline. This was an extremely stable and forgiving racket. Yeah, I know it's comfortable at the net, but not so much from the baseline, but you guys have to really experience it for yourself. Even with the rockets coming at me and slight mishits, I was able to feel comfortable redirecting the pace to another part of the court. The depth was also near perfect where my volleys landed on the other side of the net. However, this is still not a perfect racket up close. This was not a maneuverable racket on two parts of the net. One, the finesse shots like drop shot volleys, and two, defensive/reactive volleys. The finesse shots landed way too deep so my opponent can put up an easy pass against me. And the defensive volleys were just a little bit too late, a little bit too cumbersome. This racket was perfect in all areas for serving. The flat serves were fast, predictable, and accurate in all parts of the service box. The kick potential was second only to the Babolat Furi Arma 98, arguably the only redeeming quality for that shit racket. And what I love most about this is that for the serves, the side spin serves to the righty's forehand specifically, I racked up quite a number of aces and service winners using this offensive spin serve in my singles matches. There are two cons and another pro, kind of, that I couldn't necessarily put in any category listed above. First, the racket's grommets are extremely susceptible for breaking on even the slightest of mishits. After about 15 hours of playing on one specific Arma Pro 98, and I did buy 3 right off the bat, FYI, a mishit from my Canadian conquest, the grommet not only cut into the string, but literally did not exist. The grommet did not exist anymore on the port. On top of that, the two other rackets did have split grommets after about 15 hours of just regular hitting each. Second, although Furi did send me replacement grommets, awesome customer service, might I add, I can honestly say that this is the worst installation of a grommet I've ever done out of all the 100 of grommet replacements I've done among all other major tennis brands. Yes, even worse than Babolat. In fact, I have to send that specific racket back to the company to install for me. The one pro I did have was that this racket is extremely sensitive to string selection. I found that the racket felt completely different when I was playing with something rough like the Slinko Hyper G compared to a softer round co-poly like the recently reviewed Laser Fiber Native Tour. A fantastic string, by the way. Some of you might be thinking that this is a con, but in all honesty, as a string reviewer, an equipment reviewer in tennis, this is a pro. I want to feel the different attributes and responsiveness on a ball, on your tennis racket, so I could give you my honest feedback on the string I'm reviewing. I don't want too much of a muted feel. But enough about what I think. Have you tried this new offering from Furi Sport? Did I hit the nail on the head? Let me know down in the comment section down below, or better yet, join my Discord and follow my podcast, The Tennis Underground, to get the tea on all things tennis. And as always, guys, happy hitting.